So one of the things our group loves is like secret identity deduction games, like Werewolf, Resistance, Coup, like all of
Good
these.
Cop, Bad Cop.
There's a lot.
Don't Mess with Cthulhu.
So honestly, when I heard of Don't Mess with Cthulhu, I saw it on Kickstarter originally. My first thought was like, oh, another one of these games.
Yeah.
Like, we play them all the time. I don't really think I need another one. So I just kind of ignored it. I let the Kickstarter pass me by. And then these guys went to Gen Con and they picked it up from Indie Boards and Cards. And on Cthulhu Game Day, we decided to try it out. And I was like blown away.
It was like the surprise hit of Cthulhu Game Day. Because we all thought Pandemic Reign of Cthulhu would be like the game of that event.
And honestly, we saw this and we were telling people like, oh, it's just like Resistance but Cthulhu. Because that's kind of what I thought it was.
And that really is the way that you describe hidden role games to people. Oh, it's the Resistance but different for this reason, you know? But honestly, this is nothing like the Resistance at all.
No.
Like, the fact that like you get a card at the beginning that tells you what team you are on, the similarities end there.
Yeah.
Like, that's it.
Yeah, you're all claiming to be, one side or the other, but mostly you're claiming to be investigator, and you're searching each other. You're trying to find items. You're trying to find the elder signs. So that in itself is what really, that's the key mechanic that makes it different, is you're searching, you're like, oh, I have some elder signs, I'm going to search you. And then you search somebody, and those cards get redistributed each round. And that's...
I would say my favorite thing about this game is the fact I've never played a deduction game that forced people to talk so much.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the whole point of this game is just everyone talk, everyone claim things, everyone's accusing people and saying, like, I have this, you should search me, or I have this, don't search my cards. Mm-hmm. And the fact that you get a hand of cards, you look at them, shuffle them, and put them face down, so you don't even know what cards are where. So...
you know what you have, but you don't know where it is.
I really do like one thing that you said, where it's you're not... figuring out who is on what team isn't even really your main priority. You're searching. You need to find the card that's applicable for your team, but if I know you're a cultist, but I also am very confident that you have the cards I need, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's not like, oh, I'm revealed, game's kind of over, as it would be with Resistance or with Werewolf or with most other games, you know?
Yeah, the fact that you're redistributing the cards and you're trying to find those elder signs, you're like, oh, he's a cultist, he's claiming nothing, I figured out he's a cultist somehow. Like, I'm going to search him anyways. And there was that one game where, the very first game I played, I didn't realize that the cards got redistributed. I didn't realize there were multiple rounds. I mean, Aaron was the one who explained the rules, so that's pretty obvious that something like that would have happened. But they were like, oh, occultists need to find the Cthulhu, and we were all pretty confident that this one person had the Cthulhu. I was like, oh, well, I have the flashlight. This was my one chance. I'm going to search for it. And they're like, oh, Tom's a cultist. I'm like, well, yeah, but that's what I have to do, right? And then when they redistributed it, I was like, oh. But that didn't mean I just sat there and did nothing for the rest of the game. Like, I was still in it. There were still times when, like, everyone was like, no, don't search Tom because then you'll give him the flashlight. And they're like, I kind of think I need to search Tom. I think he has it. Like, that aspect of it is so good. And I really like here saying you have to talk. You have to lie. You can't just sit there. You can't even, like, just deduce from facts. I mean, sometimes you can, but it's mostly like, if we sit there and nobody, like, we don't do our rounds of, like, I have this, I have that, I have that, it's a different game. It's not, it wouldn't be a fun game. Like, the lying is the fun.
And I like that even if you're on the good team, the investigators, you still have to lie your face off. Like, most of the time, in most games, in Werewolf, in Resistance, like, you tell the truth unless you're on the bad team, in which case, so you're just trying to figure out who's lying. Because whoever's lying, that's who we don't trust. In this game, you can be on the good team, but if you have a card you don't want people to look at, you just have to lie your face off. Because if you have Cthulhu, the cultists are going to go after you. So you have to hide the fact that you have that card, or you have to pretend like you do have a bad card to make them think they don't want to go for you because you know that they know that you know.
But we don't know that they know that we know that they know. Aaron, you said something that made me think of like the first detriment. When you were saying, oh, there may be a card that people don't want you to look at, and you said Cthulhu. I'm like, well, yeah, Cthulhu, but there's the expansion in there that also has the Necronomicons and just the feudal investigations that also have the bad words. Like, I don't want you to flip this one up because then bad stuff's going to happen. Now, this is both a good thing and a bad thing. It's a good thing that, I mean, the base game was a lot of fun. Adding in that first expansion was really easy. So I'd say it's like an essential expansion. I wouldn't even buy this game. I mean, I would, but like I would highly recommend buy this game with the first expansion.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which, I mean, and you can slide it in real quick. We even had a guy jump into our game halfway through and like, well, not halfway through. We played our last round. We played. He jumped in, and we had the expansion mixed in. We were like, look, so here's how the game plays. These are the expansion parts of it. Go with it. But that can be a detriment to some people. That it's like mandatory DLC for a video game or something. It's like, I mean, it's a good game, but really, if I didn't have that expansion, I'd be like, I need more. You know what I'm saying? And we were kind of spoiled, I guess, with our first impression of this because we bought both of those at the same time. So like. We didn't have to like experience this game and then experience an expansion. Does that make sense?
And I would say, I wouldn't think of this game as a game night. Like this is definitely a filler game.
Yeah.
You play like 5 or 6 rounds and it's still fun. I wouldn't play it for 4 hours.
No.
By the end of like the 5th or 6th game, I was just bored.
I wouldn't even follow the rules that you were following with the linking the multiple games together and like who gets the token when you get to 3, that's who wins.
Yeah, no, I would say just play rounds until you get bored and then find something else.
Mm-hmm.
But it was such a fun game.
Yeah, I really like this game. It's
Yeah.
One of my favorite of those hidden role deduction games.
Yeah, this is definitely a Kickstarter that I'm kicking myself for missing.
Oh man! Well, this game is actually a reprint of a game called Time Bomb,
Which apparently has terrible artwork.
Yeah. So, and this artwork is better. It's good. Another detriment I have is the name. The theme is fine, just the name. Don't mess with Cthulhu.
It doesn't grab you?
It does not.
It's a solid meh as far as the name goes, but that doesn't deter me from playing the game at all, and it shouldn't deter you from buying it. If you're interested, check out the purchase link down below.
Really, if you're somebody who likes hidden role games, if you like the Resistance Werewolf, and you're starting to get a little bit burnt out on those, jump in on this. You should have a stack of hidden role games that you play different ones at different nights for different filler. When you're playing a filler game, don't just say Resistance is my filler game or Resistance is my hidden role game. You should have a big stack on it, and this needs to be on that stack.
There's no hidden role game that I haven't gotten tired of at some point or another.
Yeah, and we probably will get tired of this. But that's in no way to say that this is a bad game.
And as soon as we're tired of this, we can swap to something else and just put it into the cycle.
Aaron, any other closing thoughts?
I like the artwork. I like the way it plays. I guess you could say without the expansion, it is a little lacking, but not really. It's still fun. Get the expansion, get the game, and don't mess with Cthulhu.
And subscribe, and you'll never be bored. There probably will be some time, like we don't post videos nonstop. You can be bored sometimes.